Arsenal are back at London Colney, fully focused and locked in ahead of a huge night at the Emirates Stadium as Mikel Arteta's side prepare for their most important domestic cup match of the season so far. Tuesday night brings Chelsea to North London with a place in the EFL Cup final on the line, and the tension around the training ground is already building. The Gunners welcome Chelsea for the second leg of their semi-final tie, knowing the job is only half done. Arsenal travel into this one holding a narrow one-goal advantage after that dramatic 3-2 win at Stamford Bridge in the first leg. It was a chaotic, high-intensity night in West London, but Arsenal showed character, resilience, and clinical finishing when it mattered most. Now, under the lights at the Emirates, they know one more big performance can book their place at Wembley. Arteta's squad returned to training with a mix of confidence and caution. Confidence because Arsenal are coming off a dominant 4-0 win away at Leeds in the Premier League, a result that extended their lead at the top of the table and reminded everyone of their title credentials. Caution because injuries have once again crept into the conversation at exactly the wrong moment. The biggest concern surrounds Bukayo Saka. Arsenal's attacking talisman was forced out of the matchday squad just minutes before kick-off against Leeds after feeling a niggle during the warm-up. What made it more alarming was how sudden it was. Saka went straight down the tunnel with a physio, and although Arsenal still cruised to victory, the mood immediately shifted towards Tuesday night. Arteta confirmed after the game that Saka did not feel comfortable enough to start, and a quick decision had to be made. He refused to go into specifics, saying the severity of the issue is still unclear. Early reports suggested discomfort around the hip area, but Arsenal are waiting on further tests. As things stand, Saka remains a doubt for the Chelsea clash, and his availability could go right down to the wire. Losing Saka at this stage would be a huge blow. He has carried Arsenal through countless big nights, and with Chelsea coming to town chasing a comeback, his presence or absence could shape the entire tie. Merino is another major worry. The Spanish midfielder has now missed Arsenal's last two matchday squads, and Arteta confirmed that Merino is dealing with a painful foot issue. Further examinations have revealed a bone problem, and the situation has escalated to the point where surgery is now expected. That development is significant. Merino is set to be ruled out for a large portion of the remaining season, leaving Arsenal short in midfield at a time when fixtures are piling up across all competitions. His absence has also sparked fresh discussion around the transfer market, with Arsenal now considering whether they need emergency cover before the deadline closes. As things stand, Merino is not expected to feature against Chelsea, and his return date remains unknown. Then there is Max Dowman, the 16-year-old wonder kid who recently committed his long-term future to Arsenal, continues his recovery from ankle ligament damage suffered while playing for the under-21 side. Arteta has been careful and protective with Dowman's rehabilitation, especially given his age and school commitments. The good news is that he is back on the pitch in training, but this Chelsea clash comes too soon. Dowman is expected to return later in February. Despite those concerns, there has also been positive news. William Saliba and Jurrien Timber both returned against Leeds after recent knocks. Kai Havertz continues to build fitness and played an hour, and Ricardo Calafiori finally made his return to league action after being sidelined since December. Arteta finally has options again, even if a few key names remain in doubt. This is shaping up to be a massive week for Arsenal. Chelsea on Tuesday, Sunderland next in the league, then derbies against Brentford and Tottenham, plus an FA Cup tie against Wigan. 4 competitions, 4 fronts, and potentially a season that could define this group. But first comes Chelsea. Arsenal have the lead. Arsenal have home advantage. And Arsenal have Wembley within touching distance. The question now is simple. Can they finish the job without Bukayo Saka? Or will their star man be ready in time to light up another huge night at the Emirates? Tuesday night will tell us everything. Meanwhile, in transfer news, with just hours left before the window slams shut at 7 p.m. tonight, late drama is firmly on the table at the Emirates. Arsenal come into deadline day from a position of strength on the pitch. A dominant 4-0 win away at Leeds has extended their lead at the top of the Premier League. Confidence is high, momentum is back, and the title push is very much alive. But behind the scenes, an unexpected problem has emerged that could force Mikel Arteta's hand. Merino's injury has changed everything. The Spanish midfielder missed the win over Leeds with what was initially described as a foot issue, but Arsenal have now confirmed that Merino has suffered a broken bone and will undergo surgery. He is set to be ruled out for a significant period, leaving a sudden gap in Arteta's midfield at a crucial stage of the season. Arteta addressed the situation himself, confirming that Merino is in pain and required specialist assessment to determine the full extent of the injury. Arsenal now know the reality. They will be without a player who has been vital across midfield and even in attacking roles over the last 2 seasons. That injury alone could push Arsenal into the market. According to TalkSport and multiple sources close to the club, Arsenal are now actively considering a late deadline day move, most likely in the form of a loan signing. The priority is clear. Arteta does not want to be left short as Arsenal fight on multiple fronts, with the Premier League title, the Champions League and domestic cups all still in play. The idea being explored is short-term cover rather than a panic buy. Arsenal's squad was viewed internally as perfectly balanced before Merino's setback, but losing him for weeks or even months changes the equation completely. The club are now scouring the market for a midfielder who can step in immediately if required. Arteta has never been afraid to act decisively in January when necessary. Arsenal fans remember the moves for Martin Odegaard and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in past seasons, signings that reshaped the club's direction. Whether Arsenal pull the trigger again today remains the big question. While incomings are being debated, exits have already been confirmed. Alexander Zinchenko has completed his permanent move to Ajax after his loan spell at Nottingham Forest was ended by mutual consent. The Ukrainian defender departs Arsenal after making 91 appearances in all competitions since arriving from Manchester City in 2022. Arsenal have thanked him for his contribution and wished him well as he begins a new chapter in the Netherlands. Ethan Nwaneri has also already left on loan, joining Marseille for the remainder of the season as he continues his development away from North London. So Arsenal's squad has thinned slightly, and with Merino now sidelined, that balance Arteta spoke about is suddenly under pressure. Mikel Arteta is also expected to face the media today ahead of Arsenal's Carabao Cup clash with Chelsea, and all eyes will be on his body language. Deadline day often brings the coy smiles, the careful wording, and the famous phrases about being alert and open to opportunities. Fans will be watching closely for any hint that Arsenal are about to move. The timing matters. Arsenal know Manchester City and others are waiting for any slip. Protecting squad depth could be the difference between lifting the Premier League trophy and falling just short again. For now, Arsenal remain calm, controlled and focused. But the clock is ticking. The phones are on, conversations are ongoing, and one injury may have opened the door to a last-minute move that nobody saw coming this morning. So the question is simple. Should Arsenal act before 7 p.m. or trust the group that just demolished Leeds 4-0 away from home? Deadline day is rarely predictable, and for Arsenal, the final hours could yet reshape the title race. Max Dowman has committed his long-term future to Arsenal. The 16-year-old wonderkid has signed a pre-contract agreement that will see him put pen to paper on a professional deal when he turns 17 in December, ending months of speculation and interest from clubs across Europe. Dowman is already the second youngest player ever to feature for Arsenal's senior team. And inside the club, there is a belief that they are looking at something very special. Mikel Arteta has not held back when speaking about him. The Arsenal manager has said that what Dowman has shown both on and off the pitch is something he has rarely seen before in his career. He spoke about the teenager's personality, his calmness under pressure, and his ability to walk into big stadiums without being overwhelmed. That trust says a lot, especially from a manager who has worked alongside some of the best players in world football. Dowman's progress has been slowed by an ankle injury that has kept him out for nearly 2 months, limiting him to just a handful of appearances this season. But Arsenal have remained patient, protecting the player and mapping out a long-term plan rather than rushing him back. Once he returns, the club expect him to be eased in carefully, with his development placed above short-term pressure. While Arsenal secure the future, the present tells a different story when it comes to transfers. With just days left in the January window, there is still no indication that a major signing is coming through the door. After spending around £250 million in the summer, the club are not expected to be particularly active unless an opportunity becomes impossible to ignore. Instead, today is expected to be about exits. Alexander Zinchenko is set to leave Arsenal on a permanent deal, with Ajax closing in on the Ukrainian left-back. According to Fabrizio Romano, Zinchenko is travelling to Amsterdam to complete his medical and sign his contract. The deal is believed to be worth around €1.5 million, with AD Dion's link to Champions League qualification. It looks like the end of the road for a player who played an important role during Arsenal's early rebuild under Arteta. Another departure is also lined up, with 20-year-old defender Maldini Gykores set to join Grimsby Town on an 18-month deal. Arsenal see this move as a vital step in his development, giving him regular senior football and responsibility away from North London. As the window ticks down, the rumour mill continues to spin. Arsenal are still being linked with big attacking names like Julian Alvarez, and there is internal discussion about strengthening the squad in the summer rather than rushing in January. Sporting director Andrea Berta is already laying the groundwork for future windows, with forwards and wide players high on the agenda. On the pitch, Arsenal remain in control of their destiny. Despite defeat to Manchester United last weekend, they sit 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League and have the chance to extend that lead back to 7 points when they face Leeds United on Saturday. Mikel Arteta has confirmed that William Saliba and Jurrien Timber are expected to be fit, while Kai Havertz continues to build rhythm after scoring and assisting in midweek. With Manchester City and Aston Villa not playing until Sunday, Arsenal know this weekend could be another defining moment in the title race. So while January may not bring fireworks, Arsenal are sending a clear message. The present is strong, the future is protected, and every decision is being made with the bigger picture in mind. Now it's over to you. Are Arsenal right to trust their squad and focus on the long term, or do you still want to see one late signing before the window shuts? B. In other news, Arsenal are heading back on the road this weekend with something to prove, because last Sunday's defeat to Manchester United is still burning, still frustrating, and still fresh in the minds of players and fans alike. What looked like a comfortable position at the top of the Premier League suddenly tightened, with Arsenal's lead cut to just 4 points, and now the pressure is real again. This trip to Elland Road is not just another away game, it is a response game. The Gunners know exactly what is at stake. With Manchester City and Aston Villa not playing until Sunday, a win on Saturday afternoon against Leeds United would immediately restore a 7-point cushion at the summit. Drop points again and the title race suddenly feels wide open. That is why this fixture matters so much. Mikel Arteta has quietly set his squad up perfectly for this moment. The midweek Champions League match against Kairat was a dead rubber in terms of qualification, and Arteta took full advantage, rotating heavily and protecting key players. That means Arsenal's strongest 11 should arrive at Elland Road fresh, focused and physically ready for what is always a hostile atmosphere. There were some minor concerns during the week, with William Saliba and Jurrien Timber both missing the Kairat game due to slight niggles. However, Arteta sounded optimistic, and the expectation is that both defenders will be available for Saturday. Their return would be huge, especially with Leeds likely to play direct and aggressive football. There was also good news on the injury front. Riccardo Calafiori and Kai Havertz both returned to action in midweek, and Havertz made an immediate impact, scoring and assisting in the 3-2 win. His confidence is clearly growing, and his availability gives Arteta another attacking option at a crucial time. The only confirmed absentee for the Leeds game is young forward Max Dowman. In goal, David Raya is expected to return after being rested midweek. The Spaniard has been ever present in the league and will need to be sharp against a Leeds side that loves to test goalkeepers with early pressure and crosses. At right back, Jurrien Timber is likely to start if fully fit, though Ben White is ready if needed. In the heart of defence, William Saliba should partner Gabriel, a pairing Arsenal rely on heavily in physical battles. Gabriel in particular will want to channel his aggression into performance after a fiery clash against Manchester United last weekend. On the left, Riccardo Calafiori is expected to continue building rhythm after his return, offering flexibility both defensively and in possession. In midfield, this is a big moment for several players. Martin Odegaard needs to step up creatively and emotionally, especially after recent criticism. Declan Rice, who rarely delivers 2 quiet games in a row, will be crucial with his ball carrying bullying and leadership. And then there is Martin Zubimendi, who will be desperate for redemption after a costly error against United. Leeds midfield will not give him time, so his response will be telling. Out wide, Bukayo Saka will be eager to improve his output. Despite his importance to the team, his numbers have dipped this season, and this feels like a fixture where he can remind everyone of his quality. On the opposite flank, Leandro Trossard has been Arsenal's most productive player in the league, even if recent goal contributions have dried up. His intelligence in tight spaces could be key. Up front, the debate continues. Victor Gykores started midweek. Kai Havertz is working his way back to full fitness, and Gabriel Jesus may now get the nod. Jesus' pressing and movement could be vital in unsettling Leeds' backline early on. Leeds themselves are no pushovers. Sitting 16th with 26 points, they are fighting for survival and have been stubborn at Elland Road. They drew 1-1 with Everton last time out and will see this as a chance to make a statement. Arsenal may have won the last meeting 5-0, but this will be a very different test. The numbers still favour the Gunners. Arsenal are unbeaten in 7 away games, have just 1 loss in their last 16 on the road, and only 2 defeats in their last 33 matches overall. They have scored in 3 straight games, but they have also conceded in 3 straight games, and that vulnerability is something Leeds will look to exploit. This is where the season starts to turn. Arsenal have not won their last 3 Premier League matches, and fans can feel the tension rising. The performances in Europe have been strong, but the league is where titles are decided. Anything less than a win here, and the gap at the top could shrink to just 1 point. So this is the moment. A hostile ground, a fired-up opponent, a title race tightening by the week. Arsenal need a response, not just in result, but in authority. What do you think, Gunners? Is this the game where Arsenal reassert control of the title race, or are you worried the pressure is starting to tell? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk. In transfer news. Reports from sources close to Bayern Munich suggest Arsenal are already involved in background talks regarding a future move for Musiala. This is not just admiration from a distance. Communication lines are open between Arsenal, the players' camp, and Bayern themselves, with all sides staying informed as the situation develops. Musiala only recently signed a new contract at Bayern Munich, keeping him at the Allianz Arena until 2030. But here is the key detail Arsenal fans need to understand. That contract includes a release clause that drops with every passing transfer window. This summer, that clause is expected to sit at around £127.5 million, down from an original figure of £150 million. In future years, it drops even further, potentially to £115 million in 2027, £105 million in 2028, and as low as £85 million by 2029. Inside Bayern, there is already an acceptance that Musiala may not stay forever. Because of his level, his influence, and his ambition, Bayern know that a serious project could tempt him, and Arsenal are now firmly part of that conversation. Sitting top of both the Premier League and Champions League this season, Mikel Arteta's project is being viewed across Europe as elite, stable, and ready-made for world-class talent. But Musiala is not the only superstar being discussed behind closed doors. Arsenal are also actively exploring a summer move for Julian Alvarez, with Atletico Madrid aware of the growing interest from North London. Sources suggest a bid in the region of £87 million could be enough to bring Atletico to the negotiating table, even though the Spanish club would prefer to keep him. Alvarez has endured a difficult spell in front of goal in Spain, but Arsenal see beyond the numbers. They see a World Cup winner, a relentless presser, a player who thrives in big moments, and someone who could add sharpness and flexibility to an attack that has sometimes lacked a ruthless edge. Former England striker Gary Lineker has even weighed in, saying Alvarez is exactly the type of player who can handle pressure at the highest level, and suggesting that a move to Arsenal could be a game changer. Atletico are reluctant sellers, but Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta's long-standing relationship with the Spanish club keeps this door very much open. And now comes a storyline that has caught many fans by surprise. Martin Odegaard's future is being quietly monitored across Europe. Reports suggest Arsenal could be open to offers this summer if the right proposal arrives, with Bayern Munich and Inter Milan both keeping close tabs on the situation. From Arsenal's perspective, any sale would massively help with Premier League financial rules, and Odegaard would likely become the most expensive outgoing in the club's history. There is no suggestion that Arsenal want to lose their captain, but this is modern football. Every player has a price, and when clubs like Bayern and Inter start circling, conversations inevitably happen. Whether Odegaard stays or goes, his situation could have a major impact on how Arsenal shape their midfield and attacking structure moving forward. Despite the noise, Arsenal remain calm. After spending around £250 million in the summer, the club are not expected to rush into January deals. The focus is on stability, momentum and finishing the season strongly, starting with Champions League action against FC Gykores as Arsenal look to bounce back immediately after the Manchester United defeat. The message from inside the club is clear. Arsenal are competing now, but they are also planning for dominance. Musiala, Alvarez, big decisions, big ambition, and a club that is no longer thinking small. So Arsenal fans, let me ask you this. If you could only choose one, do you go all in for Jamal Musiala, or do you prioritise Julian Alvarez to sharpen the attack? And would you ever accept selling Martin Odegaard if it meant Arsenal taking the final step toward becoming Europe's best team elsewhere? While fans debate that, one Arsenal move has already delivered instant proof that the club made the right call. Ethan Nwaneri has announced himself in France in spectacular fashion. Just 13 minutes into his Marseille debut, the 18-year-old found the back of the net, scoring his first League One goal and immediately justifying Mikel Arteta's faith in the lone decision. Roberto De Zerbi wasted no time throwing him into action, and Nwaneri responded with confidence, intelligence and composure beyond his years. This loan was never about sending him away. It was about accelerating his development in a demanding environment. Arsenal believe Marseille gives him intensity, responsibility and tactical freedom, and that early goal is exactly the kind of spark they hope for. Inside the club, there is real belief that Nwaneri could return next season sharper, stronger and ready to compete seriously for minutes. Arsenal lead the Premier League, top their Champions League group and are still alive in multiple competitions. The squad is deep, experienced and battle-hardened. That has not stopped Arsenal from exploring options for the future. One name that keeps resurfacing is PSG winger Bradley Barcola. The 23-year-old has been closely monitored after another strong season in France, and Arsenal view him as a potential long-term upgrade on the left wing. Talks are not advanced, and a January deal is highly unlikely, but groundwork is being laid. Arsenal are also tracking RB Leipzig forward Yan Diomande, although competition from Manchester City and Manchester United makes that situation complex. Back to Alvarez, and the feeling is that if Atletico Madrid soften their stance further, Arsenal will be ready. An £80 million deal would not be cheap, but for a player of his age, output and pedigree, it could be the final piece in turning dominance into trophies.